What up, Chiefs Kingdom, and welcome to the Arrowhead Kingdom Chiefs Cast Show. Big reminder that all fans are invited to join us for game day. Visit arrowheadkingdom.org to learn more about the group and find your local group and watch party. Please also make sure to like and subscribe this channel, and also please share it so you can help us find new audience. We are, of course, presented by Complete Weddings and Events, your leading provider of photo, video, DJ, photo booth lighting, and day of coordination services. Visit them at completewedo.com. Brian's in his Thunderdome. I'm in my lair. Dwayne's at a outdoor venue. Where you at?
Yeah, I am at a local cigar lounge called Cigars International. It's pretty cool. It's out here in Katy, Texas, in the suburbs of Houston.
Oh, you're in Katy. You're out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a question for somebody who's not only a resident but also in real estate. How
Uh-huh.
many cities is Houston? The Houston
Uh,
metro area. How
the
many
Houston metro
distinct
area
areas
has
is
to
that?
be 10 cities. If I was speaking amongst like Missouri or Kansas, literally it's about 10 cities. It's like take greater Kansas City with all its Overland Park and all of that and times two or three.
So what
That's how
are
crazy.
the different areas? Because I know that Houston's got the big beltway that runs around the outside, but they've got an inner and an outer, correct?
They got to inner and outer. The outer is the 99 Grand Parkway. That takes you around all the suburbs. And the inner one is the Beltway Loop. Then inside the loop is 610 Loop. And then you have 59 going straight, 10 going straight, and 45 going straight. Oh, and 290.
So there you go. If you visit Houston, it's overwhelming and big. All
Yeah.
right, let's get into business. So on the Arrowhead Kingdom website, arrowheadkingdom.org, we have a section that we call the column and Cheesecast. It's where we link things like this. We do a weekly column that I know everybody reads called the Writers Room Recap, where Dwayne and I, Brian jumps in from time to time. We'll put together all of our thoughts as we're watching the game in addition to the recap. So, one question that I want to bring up that we got into here after 2 weeks, we have a small amount of 0 and 2 teams and we have a small amount of 2 and 0 teams.
That's right.
And given the fact we've gone down to 3 preseason games opposed to the 4, I think
Hmm.
there's a general consensus that the season starts a little slower. Also, adding the 17th game adds an extra dynamic. So, as often as, or as recently as we'll say 5 years ago, 0 and 2 was a very bad indicator. 0 and
Mm.
3 was essentially a death sentence to making the playoffs. I don't necessarily believe that's the case anymore. But
Me
let's talk
neither.
about the 0 and 2 teams. So, Brian, who do you think is the best 0 and 2 team? And I'll give you a list of who they are.
I know, I got them right here.
Oh, I got it. Go for it.
Okay.
Baltimore Ravens.
Huh.
Yeah, I
I'm gonna go with
agree.
them. That's a toss up between the Ravens and the Bengals. I'm gonna go with the Ravens. They're just between what they were doing last year, the players they have and the positions they have and what they're capable of doing. I just the point differential is 10. The since Bengals is 7 in terms of points allowed and points they scored. So it's in there. The Broncos are 13-ish. I'm not going to entertain that right now. I'm thinking the Ravens, based on just the players that we know, the way they looked when we played them, how close it was by a toenail, and the skills, the skills that they have right there. So I'm gonna go with Ravens.
Yeah, I think we can agree the Broncos are not the best 0 and 2 team.
Nope.
They suck out loud, and Bo Nix looks pretty bad. He's a rookie. I still have belief in that guy that he's going to end up being good in Sean Payton's system. But yeah,
I do. And just like Brian said, Josh, I feel like it's a toss up between the Ravens and the Bengals, but I'm going to give the edge to the Bengals because I feel like they could pass the ball better than the Ravens. So I would say the Bengals are best 0-2 team by a toe. No pun intended to
Yeah.
Baltimore.
I would never count Jamar Chase out. That guy is he's very
Right.
skilled. His skill
Yeah.
set. I know he's getting kind of laughed at right now with his production, but I'm like, I've seen him do some amazing things, so I'm never going to count that guy out.
Yeah. No, I'm picking up what Dwayne's putting down on the Cincinnati and the throwing thing. I'm going to add a different angle or a slightly different
Okay.
angle in the same vein where I think that the Bengals being better at throwing the ball is important. I think the Bengals are better at knowing who they are and they're better at having an identity that fits the modern NFL, i.e. that passing game. If the Ravens would have remembered who they were last year, we might not have played the Super Bowl. But they decided to
Yeah,
not run the ball in the second half. But they
that's so
really
true.
effectively did the same thing in week one of this year. And I think that that's just some of the Chiefs throwing people off their game. But I would agree with you both. I'm going to call it a push at this point. I kind of want to see what happens in week three. Um, Ravens play the Cowboys that
Mm,
just got smacked around by the Saints. I think we're going to learn quite a bit about both of those teams. I didn't really take the Ravens loss to the Raiders seriously. I don't take the
no,
Raiders seriously. That was a
no,
hammer kind of game. The
they got lucky.
exactly. The thing that I'll also say about the Ravens and the Bengals is we have 2 weeks just worth of not only the fans. I mean, the fans are supposed to complain about close games being lost by their team. Neither of the Ravens or Bengals are shying away from just being salty about not liking losing to the Chiefs and not really taking accountability in my mind for the reasons why that happened.
I'll throw this out there that Joe Burrow, after signing that big contract, has not really. I mean, obviously he was
Lived
hurt.
up to it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's. I don't know if something's in his head or what. We were talking about earlier. It takes him about 5 or 6 or 7 games to get his footing. That's not what Mahomes needs, by the way, but Burrow apparently needs that. And here we are. Obviously, he is very skillful at what he does, but he signed that big contract. And ever since that happened, I gotta tell you, he's not been living up to those numbers. It's not a, Russell Wilson situation right here because he
Mm-mm.
got hurt, but I'm like, okay, man, we got to start seeing something here for what you've been invested with. So, you know what? I'm kind of waiting for him, and he was my quarterback last year in the fantasy team. I kept on waiting. I'm like, okay, I'm tired of waiting. We got to do something. So I haven't
What's
really
that?
seen anything from him yet.
What's that classic line song? I've been waiting for a girl
Yeah.
like you.
Yeah.
You've been waiting for him
Yeah.
to actually
Burrow
step up
Yeah.
to
to
you for a
complete.
bird like you to come and put up stats. I've
Tuh.
been waiting.
Hey, great improvising, man. That's great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's a result of Brian and I spending too much time at karaoke bars in our college days, and I think we both still kind of do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never really grown out of it. So yeah,
Yeah, I
that
don't see a
turns
point in
out
growing out of it.
turns out Gen Z likes it more than millennials do. So like,
Yeah.
cool, let's
Yeah.
party.
Well, speaking of karaoke bars, got a sidebar this. I was in Salt Lake City a few weeks ago, about a month ago for work. Have you guys been to Salt Lake City?
Uh,
No.
one time, yeah, one time.
Okay, so very underrated city. They have a ton of upside. Um, guy that I was working with, one of my customers, he made a comment. He's like, "Yeah, once everybody figured out, and I think this is either a Gen Y or Gen Z thing, but once everybody figured out that the Mormons out here aren't a bunch of hokey people trying to make everything weird, everyone realized that some of the
Mm.
best outdoor world and experience and hiking and stuff like that and
I
beautiful
like that
landscape,
phrasing. I like that phrase.
i.e., i.e., millennials just all of a sudden decided that hiking was the pastime. So there's that.
Man.
And
Well,
That,
so you go out to Utah and realize the place is just friggin' gorgeous. And he made a comment that it corrected too far, and now you got everybody from California coming and driving the house prices up and
yeah,
overrunning and over
it's good stuff.
gentrifying
It's a
their
good
area.
place. It's very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. But
I
so
just I just like your phrasing of a bunch of hokey people trying to make the place weird and like cut to a Mormon like that's how you see me. I'm just like
yeah.
trying to live
Yeah.
my
You,
life.
well, so
you do that really great, man. You sound just like them.
the guy
That's
who the,
hilarious.
the guy who said that
Love you.
proceeded the comment by talking about how his last name is a very common Mormon last name. And
If
I'm simply paraphrasing a quote. These aren't my actual words. I want to be clear about that. But so we stayed right downtown at the Hilton, and we went for a nightcap drink to this place called the Tabernacle. So it's a combination of tavern and
the
tabernacle.
Tabernacle Tavern, got
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it was right next to our hotel, but in this random spot in this building. It looked like you were going into a radio station, and I think that was what was on the upper floor. But so we walk in, total big, open, expansive place that was nice. It was really well kept, but it looked like it was trying to keep a little bit of a dive bar vibe to it. And I love that, by the way. But we go up and we order and get our drinks. We have a couple, and then we realize that it's a karaoke bar. And then I found out how much more into karaoke I am than the coworkers I was with.
Hmm.
One dude just looked completely uncomfortable, and he's like, "You got to take a picture of this so I can send it to my wife because she won't believe that I would be caught dead in a place like this."
Yeah,
And so,
I
of course, he
I
doesn't
love
sing.
karaoke, man.
Yeah,
Karaoke
this
is
is
fun.
a weeknight, and so it's six people rotating, and they're singing all these weird deep cuts from Broadway plays and stuff. So it
Nice.
was not only karaoke night, it was karaoke just hardcore people night, which was great. But the thing that was interesting, when I went to pay the tab, they brought me the receipt as a bookmark and a Book of Mormon to sign. I'm like, oh,
Wow.
okay, I don't even know what we're doing here, but
Dwayne, what's your karaoke song?
Anything by Al Green. I do soulful stuff, man. Sometimes I'll throw a wig on, man, and act silly like Little Richard.
oh,
I'll
there you
be
go.
wop bam a bop a wop bam boom and real loud with it.
Yeah.
Or sometimes, man, I mean, I just be having fun with it, you know.
Do you warn the
It,
ladies like if you're ovulating, be careful because you're
yeah,
about to get a very potent
yeah,
performance.
that's right. That's right, man. That's it. That's it.
Heck yeah. Oh my God, that'd be fun. Oh my God, I'd love to see that.
Oh man, we have to get together one day in karaoke, man. We'll have
I'm
a
a
great time.
I'm a Copacabana guy.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. The
Her name
Copacabana.
was Lola. She was a
Yes.
showgirl. Yellow feathers in her hair and a dress cut down to there. Yeah,
That's it. That's it. That's
that's
it. You sound good, man. You
Okay,
I
so
sound good.
I can sing that like any Jewish guy, like Barry Manilow doing a Latino song. I like that. Have you ever
Hmm.
listened to it? He goes, uh, what's it called? Like, oh God, and then the punches. Oh, they were young and they had each other. Who could ask for more? You can hear his
Yeah, yeah,
accent
yeah,
in
yeah.
it.
That's exactly how they do
Because
that.
they were young and they had each other. Like, I make sure to do that properly. Oh, I love that song.
Man.
okay, so I'm gonna show you guys something. I'm gonna share a screen while we're going down this karaoke rabbit hole. Okay,
Right.
Dwayne, given the music that you talked about, I would
Uh-huh.
love to see you tackle this entire playlist on a karaoke night.
Okay.
So here we go. Um, can you guys see everything?
Yeah.
Okay, so Spotify
Wow.
and I
Marvin
found
Gaye.
somebody was telling me about a Reddit thread. So Marvin Gaye's "Clueless Ass." If you look at this playlist, it's all of his songs that end in
He's
a
asking
question mark.
questions. He's
It's
just
all of
Yeah.
asking a
them
bunch of
asking
questions.
questions. What's going
Yeah.
on? What's
That is
happening, brother?
funny.
So that's a
Yeah.
playlist right there. That's a playlist right there. So
Hmm.
I didn't know that this was a Reddit subthread about random playlists. I don't look at Reddit.
That is funny. That
Here's
is
the one
funny
that I
because he's
first heard
asking
of.
so many damn
He's asking
questions.
like, "What's going on? Who do I love? Why
Yeah,
am I
yeah.
like?"
So here's
Dude's
my absolute
clueless.
favorite dumb playlist that I've ever seen. John Fogerty finding out what rain is and immediately hating it. Have you seen the rain? It came out of the sky. Who will stop the rain? That is
Yeah,
brilliant.
that is brilliant.
That's funny. That's great.
So there
I
we
love it.
go.
I like that
So,
song. All
so
right, these are good playlists. I like these.
Those are great playlists.
but yeah,
Now I'm
so
gonna listen to Marvin Gaye's "Clueless Ass."
there you go. There you go. So I'll share that we can put those links in the write up here because
Yeah.
they're incredible. Um, but yeah, so no karaoke. I generally come out of the gate. I like doing Bob Dylan stuff. Bob
Yeah.
Dylan stuff's pretty easy to sing. It's within the range that I like.
Hmm.
Now the ones if I'm feeling like really getting after it, Brian's seen this, I can actually do a pretty decent job with the Darkness song. I believe in a thing called love.
Oh
Yeah, it's
wow,
pretty sweet.
that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
beautiful, man.
What's up here? And I've seen you do La Vida Loca.
Can I
Pretty
listen
funny.
to the rhythm of a heart? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
No,
you know
you
who's easy to do? Tom Jones. He's easy to do too.
Oh
mhm.
yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
know, it's not unusual to be
Mhm.
loved
Actually,
by anyone.
you know what'd be awesome is if you would have to have the karaoke DJ on board with this, but if you could pull off having the karaoke DJ fully on board with this, I think it would be awesome to do the John Mulaney Salt and Pepper Diner
Oh wow.
karaoke to people. Brian, I know you know what I'm talking about.
I don't think I know what you're talking about.
Okay,
No.
so John Mulaney grew up in Chicago. He has this
Okay.
incredible comedy bit called the Salt and Pepper Diner. I'll make this as quick paraphrase as I possibly can. He's talking about being a young kid going into this diner that's got the old school jukebox where you like flip the CD thing
Yeah.
at the counter at the table where you're at. And he and his buddy pumped a bunch of money into the jukebox and decided they were going to play the Tom Jones song "What's New Pussycat" on loop. And this had to be an old jukebox because if you try to do this on a modern digital one, they won't let you play the same song twice in a row.
Hmm.
But so they put on "What's New Pussycat" 11 times, and
Oh
he
wow.
just starts saying like, I don't know the last time you listened to that song, but it comes in hard. It's like wah wah, and then it ends
Yeah.
very abruptly. So on the second play, you see people asking, "Is What's New Pussycat a longer song than I thought it was?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "So after we did three, we see people starting to squirm in their seats, and then we put on It's Not Unusual." Or no, they put on "She's a Lady" to break it up, and
Oh
you see a
wow.
collective sigh. And he goes, "Then we go right back into What's New Pussycat," and you
Oh
see
my
this guy
God.
who you can tell is trying to quit smoking, and he's
Right.
fuming, and he just like slams his coffee down when that happens, and then they end up unplugging the jukebox after a few more plays.
Can I tell you, my 7-year-old son heard Bohemian Rhapsody for the first time
Really.
last month.
Oh yeah,
And his first words after the song ended was, "I'm sad and I have chills." I'm like, that's exactly, yeah, the first time you hear that song, you have chills and you feel
yeah,
kind of bummed out a little bit. Yeah. So it's,
yeah.
yeah. And he says he still gets the chills every time. He's still in the mode of like having chills when he hears that jam. So yeah,
Nice.
it's kind of it's fun seeing Discovery like that, kind of the music journey. But you know what? I'm sorry, this is not a music podcast. We should do a whole musical episode one of these days.
Yes, we
I'm down
should.
for that.
Yes, we
We
should.
really should. We really should. Okay. Well, let's get into the next thing. 2-0 teams. Brian, who do you
Okay.
think is the biggest fraud of the 2-0 teams? Who do you not believe in?
Um, I'm looking. Pittsburgh looks kind of rough. Um, I don't think the Saints are. Maybe the Seahawks. I'm a toss up between Seahawks and Pittsburgh.
So Dwayne and
Um,
I both went with the Chargers,
Yep.
but I might be changing my vote to Pittsburgh. I think so little of that team, I didn't even think of them when we were doing this,
I
to be
know, but
honest.
kind of like I said at the beginning of the summer, man, that's a weird team. They're just their defense so good. I think their defense can carry them to 9 or 10 wins. That's what's so retarded about their team. I mean,
Yeah.
excuse the R word, you guys. You
you're
got to
fine.
be
You're fine. You're fine. You're among friends.
politically correct.
No, it's all good. I'm just looking at point differential here. I was thinking Chargers for a second there, but I mean the Seahawks really haven't made any noise. Pittsburgh is, I don't know, they it seems like their quarterback situation was what's causing some issues there. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like they have a lot of tools working with them, but I thought Russell Westbrook was with the guy for a second there. Then they went with
Russell
the
Wilson.
Russell Wilson. Oh, Russell. Pardon
Yeah,
me. Pardon me. I mean, I keep on calling, it's Xavier for the Chiefs, Xavier Worthy, right?
yeah,
I keep on calling him Xavier Daniels, and everyone's like around here, he's like, keeps on like, stop saying that. I'm like, the word Xavier just is a KU
Yeah.
guy over here. So I
you
need to
you
stop doing
know
that.
that's why I shorten his name to Zay. Most people name Xavier, they're called Zay, or I'll just call the guy X-Man Worthy.
I like
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
I
Yeah,
X-Man
like that. That's
worthy.
cool.
X-Man
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Worthy.
Yeah, no, so yeah, that I need to work on that. But however, yes, Russell's well, we saw what he did in the Broncos there, and I'm like, well, sounds like you're playing second fiddle right now. So it sounds like there's some problems going on in the QB situation there, and obviously that's the spot that needs to be taken care of. So I'm not saying it. At least you're not the Giants, I suppose. But there you go.
Yeah, so worst team between the Giants and the Panthers. I think it's the Panthers. I don't think it's close, but
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling too. Kind of feel bad for him. That Thielen guy did pretty good last year. Am I
yeah,
saying that word? Thielen or Thielen? I
Adam
don't know.
Thielen, yeah.
Thielen,
Yeah.
yeah. He's like what 5 minutes younger than you, me, and Josh. I don't
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
know. He's
Well,
like he's
so
kind of getting up there.
I saw a comment. I don't know. Maybe this was something I heard. Anyway, some sports show was talking recently, and they brought up that they never thought they'd see a worse owner than Dan Snyder when he was in Washington, and that the guy who owns the Panthers might be making a run at that. He hasn't done anything very non-PC and controversial yet, but that's really about the only difference. He's kind of running the team into the ground. I mean, the fact they're sitting there benching after 8 games Bryce Young as the quarterback, so now they can turn around and get pennies on the dollar for him. I don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe this is a thing where they know he ain't the guy and they're cutting bait early, and we'll see.
Well, like you said, it's a copycat league, right? And being that it's a copycat league, I think that they're trying to do like Chicago. Let's move off this guy. We don't want to be on the hook with him. Uh, I got a funny feeling he might be traded next season, the off season. I mean, he's already benched for a guy that. How old is the Red Robin? The Red Robin is about what, 37?
Yeah, probably the Red Rocket. Yeah, Andy Dalton. Yeah,
Yeah, I called him the Red Robin.
the thing that I think is interesting with, and because a copycat league, I think they're following the Niners cutting bait with Trey Lance early more
Yeah,
than anything.
that
And
makes sense too.
and Dalton's 36, by the way.
Okay.
But I think they're trying to do that more than trying to get out early like the Caleb Williams thing. Because I mean, they took Justin Fields to the limit on that one. But
Yes, they did.
so, Dwayne, who do you think is the biggest surprise team so far? Like, who's overachieving? Doing Wait, I guess it could be over or underachieving. What's the team? We'll do this in two
That's
things. Who's
overachieving.
your biggest overachieving surprise team, and who's your biggest letdown
My
team?
biggest surprise team is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are playing incredible ball right now. And if they just keep that up, they're going to do crazy good things. And my underachieving team, of course, is the Dallas Cowboys.
Brian,
Yeah,
who you
they
got?
got railroaded by the
The
Saints
Saints.
there. I knew Alvin Kamara is a badass, and I don't know if Derek Carr is in a situation there where like maybe you get the right positions around him, the right players around him. He does like okay, I hate saying it, but I think he has the skill set to do some good stuff. You just need the right system and the right players around you to make something happen. And he's like currently the second best QB ranking, at least fantasy wise, in the league right now. And Kamara is just that dude's a badass. And he's a dual threat of running and catching the damn thing. So like maybe I don't know, maybe he found a system that works for his style. Who knows?
I mean, I've always thought that about Derek Carr. The couple of good Raider teams that he was QB of, they actually put a team around him. I always liked Derek Carr. I've always thought he's a good quarterback. I think he's in a good season. I'm going with the Saints as my biggest surprise for overachieving. What I think is wild is that if you looked at the MVP, if the MVP vote was due today, I'd have to think that the top three would be some combination of Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, and Derek Carr.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
they've all played well. And I mean, we were talking before about Dennis Allen being the first coach fired because we thought the Saints were going to be a tire fire. So we'll see.
And
They're my
Well,
surprise. My biggest underachieve. I'm gonna go with. Let me look at this again. I don't know that I'm quite there with Dallas because they had a tumultuous enough offseason. I'm gonna go with a coin flip between the Jacksonville Jags and the Rams being 0-2. The Rams have an injury bugaboo. They've got Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp both out. So that's explainable. The Jags just don't look good at all. So
Yeah, I'm
anyway,
I'm bummed out even thinking about them.
yeah.
They really, I don't know how you get inspired, but uh, wish I knew. Is
I
but
don't think
Dallas?
there's many inspired Jags fans. I mean, they're getting a new stadium. That's a thing.
Yeah,
They have a pool in their current one. I would imagine the new one's going to do the same thing.
that's pretty
But
cool. All right, well, that's something to get excited about.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So games are fun in Florida.
I
Sounds good.
uh I pulled this card. This guy named Laviska from Colorado.
Yeah.
Um, Laviska Chenault. Am I saying that right?
Mm,
I don't know if I'm saying his last name correctly. But he had a really good rookie season. I forget who it was with. I don't think it was the Panthers, but but then he went to go play for the Panthers, and he was just like he went from like having a really good rookie season to like playing them with them and like nothing really happening, and now he's with the
wow.
Seahawks, and he's like I think he's wide receiver 2 or 3 or something like that in the Seahawks, and I'm really rooting for him because I have a rookie auto numbered card from him, and so I'm like rooting like okay, this is trying to break out, my guy. Let's break out. Let's go to the Hall of Fame. We're going to the Hall of Fame.
So
So I'm
he
really rooting
spent
for him.
2 years in Jacksonville, 2020, 2021, 2 years in Carolina, 22, 23, and then he's in Seattle, as you mentioned. I sounds like football hell.
Yeah, well, I mean, he look at if you look at his stats his rookie year, like he did pretty well. And then I guess it's one of those things where like we watch. I mean, and Dwayne, you're more privy to this kind of thing, being from a professional football family, and
Hmm.
you follow things differently than how we follow it, and you understand kind of the inner workings and if it's politics or not or whatever it is. There's you have more of an inside football about that
Yeah.
and like me watching from the outsider, like you had this amazing talent in Laviska, and you're like, well, yeah, he had a great rookie season, but then he went to go over here, and it just maybe didn't fit for what they're looking for, or maybe
No,
they're
it's
trying different things.
not the right scheme, and scheme is everything. Coaching is everything, and
Yeah,
that can sometimes bury guys because when he went over to Seattle, he probably was going under that rookie deal. So they were expecting to get those numbers that he had in Carolina, and it just didn't pan out. But those guys, if he keeps working hard or something, maybe his next team he'll blow up there.
hmm and
Yeah,
then
so
that
2020 had 10 yards a catch, 10.3 to be exact, on 58 receptions. He had 5 touchdowns for Jacksonville. And
yeah,
then his second best season, his first year in Carolina, he had 27 catches with a 10.1, but only 1 touchdown. But looking at him, I mean, looking at his just stats or his biometrics, 6'1", 225. I mean, you can't find a place for a wide receiver like that. It's like
Mm.
what are we doing? And then
is he too
looking
short
at
or
his longs for the
what?
season, his first 2 seasons in Jacksonville, his longs for the year were 36 and 58. He had a 67-yard in Carolina in 22, and then we're 14 and last season, and then 6 yards is the best that he's done so far. He's got 2 receptions, one for three, one for nothing.
Well, what's the deal with being 6'1", 225? Is that a problem or is that an advantage, or what do you mean by that?
Well, okay,
No,
so
that's
a guy
great
who's six
size.
one, 225, I mean, that's a big wide receiver.
Yeah.
That's a target that can move people around, and the fact that he's got a 67-yard reception means that he's clearly got some speed.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
then, okay, so we're not talking about like a Tyreek Hill where he's smaller, but he can move like
No.
lightning or Xavier.
Yeah, no, he's just a big target that should be able to get into a position where he can get some first downs.
I see. I feel
I
you.
don't understand how they don't find a spot for a guy with that size, but
So if you're Xavier right now, who is as fast as he is, so his mindset is right. He's going into game three. He's a rookie. He
Hmm.
had his dynamite first game, and now here he is. He's going to bed tonight, coming up on his next game, Sunday Night Football. And what is he thinking about? What is in his mind? Like, look, I've came out hot, first game, second game, okay, fine. Now we're coming out next. What do I got to do? And keep on doing what I'm
I
doing.
think he's kicking himself behind that interception. That guy posted him with that one hand grab. So I'm thinking that this is gonna make X-Man Worthy come out against the Falcons. He's gonna be out to prove something because last game he didn't get a touchdown. Uh, he had a pass that could have been a touchdown, but great play on the cornerback to snag that ball out of the air from him. So I'm looking for X-Man Worthy to really show up, and I'm looking for Andy Reid to run him in some type of reverse or do something tricky with him to get him going. I expect him to have a great game. Him and Crocky Steele. Crocky
Mhm.
Steele is our guy. He's going to get the majority of the carries, and watch what he does. He's going to wear down that defense so crazy. And then
it's
we got Hunt back. Oh,
starting to look like that, and
Kareem
Kareem Hunt
Hunt.
being back.
I
As of
added into
right
my
now,
fantasy team.
Kareem Hunt hasn't been activated to play this weekend, but
he
It's
will
funny.
be.
I have. Oh, go ahead. I'm just going. Go ahead.
He will be. Because Andy Reid's saying that it's a possibility, and whenever Andy says it's a possibility, he's going to be activated Saturday. You know, and
It's funny.
him and Kareem, they're going to be check down backs for Mahomes. They're going to take some of the load off of Crocky Steele, but Crocky Steele is going to get the bulks of the carry, being the fullback one and now running back one. So he's our slash player. So he's gonna be blocking for them, or he's not coming off the field during offense. He's gonna get more carries.
yeah, he'll be touching the ball. He'll be part of every play. I 100% agree with that. So before we get into the pass, let's stay on this future kick that we're going on right here.
Okay.
What are the keys, Dwayne, to victory against the Falcons, who are a 1-1 team? They lost a close one to the Steelers, and then they beat the
Eagles. Ha! I
Eagles
saw
this
that. That
last
was
week.
wild.
Yeah,
Ha!
yeah,
That was wild.
yeah.
That was
In the
wild, dude.
press conference that won't end for Tony Sirianni because I know doesn't know how to keep his mouth shut.
No, he doesn't.
No,
Oh,
no filter in
that
that.
guy. He
That.
needs a publicist.
Yeah.
He needs
We
a
That
need.
publicist. Just move on from the play. Be like, yeah, it didn't work. Saquon Barkley catches the ball all the time out of the backfield. He dropped one. It sucks. We move on.
Just hand it
yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah. But the keys to this game, like you were saying, Josh, defense, defense, defense. Rush, blitz, blitz, blitz. Push in the linebackers, push in your DTs, push in your tackles. You have a gift leg Kirk Cousins, and I didn't see that pressure in the Philadelphia game. And I believe that we, the Chiefs, will put that pressure on him so much that I mean he might even leave the game. I don't think he's going to get hurt or anything, but just to keep him upright, we might see Penix come in and play a few snaps just
Well,
because they're going to be on it.
well, and Kirk Cousin has a long history of doing well in primetime games too.
Yeah, yes, he does.
Yeah, and by
Yes,
a
he
long history of doing well, I think he's won one of them.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So,
yeah.
and
Cousins
then
is basically the worst at
he has
primetime
no
game.
zip on his passes, you guys. This
Yeah.
man is, I don't know. I'm like, okay, you're coming off of an Achilles tear, and that's serious. But I guess it's on his push off leg because this guy, he's floating the ball. The Kirk Cousins I know zips that ball in there. So, but that's not going to be good because should McDuffie, he should be able to just, you know, take one to the house, you
Yeah.
know.
So as of today, The Falcons have scored 32 points. So
Yeah,
not
it's gonna
a
be rough. It's
not a
gonna be
potent offense. Our defense should
a long
feast
day.
and
Yeah.
pass rushers. Yeah. Now I'm expecting that to be a pretty long night. I'm gonna be there for that one. I'm looking forward to
Oh
this.
yeah, you're going to the KC takeover.
Going to the Dirty South. Yeah. So I'm actually going there for work and then attending the Arrowhead Kingdom tailgate. I'm flying down first thing Sunday morning. So yeah.
Well, Lottie frickin' da.
Lordy friggin' da. Yeah, yeah. So enough about me. Okay, so Ryan, any other keys to victory that you would throw out, and then give me a score prediction.
Okay, I think Dwayne nailed the big one. I'm gonna throw this in there. We have to, inspired by the Eagles, limit the mistakes. Let's limit the
Yes.
mistakes. We must limit those mistakes. I think it's gonna be a long day for the Falcons. I mean, we have a lot of offensive weapons going on, which is why I think Kelce is not being as productive or is being used. Maybe he's being used as some sort of deflection, or they're focusing on him while our other awesome offensive weapons are getting their time in the sun. That's fine. Having said that, just what's it? Belichick says, know your job, do your job, and let's limit those mistakes the best we can. Yeah, defense do a thing, and let's limit our mistakes, and we should be doing just fine at the end of Sunday. Score prediction, I think we're gonna do very well. I'm gonna go 24, 31, 14.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm gonna go with 24-18 for a victory. I think that we're still in the figuring the offense out. We're not going to be blowing anybody out, but I think that they hold the Falcons down to 18. So 24-18. What do you got, Dwayne?
25, 25-15. They like to kick a whole lot of field goals. I've watched Atlanta. They're a field goal happy
Yeah.
team.
Their kicker is Young Hoku, correct?
Yep.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. He's a stud with a boot.
Guy puts up points in fantasy.
He really does.
Yeah. All
Thankfully,
right.
Butker does too.
Yes, he does. All right. So let's talk about that Bengals game.
Oh yeah.
We just moved to 2-0 by winning 26-23. I know we were calling for blowouts, but my post game recap in the writers' room was essentially that the Bengals and Ravens just as well be, along with the Bills, just as well be divisional opponents at this point. We're not getting any competition from our actual divisional opponents. I think the Mahomes stat is he's what, 30-5 or something stupid like that against divisional opponents in his time as a starter. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. So our familiar teams where record, momentum, all of those things don't necessarily matter are the Bengals, Ravens, and the Bills. So we probably should have seen a close game coming for that one. And Nick Wright pointed this out on Monday. The game ended essentially the way the last few games against the Bengals have. It goes into the very last part of the game. There's a penalty that's not controversial, but people try to make controversial. And then Harrison Butker kicks a field goal, and the Bengals walk off stomping, saying they can't wait to play him again.
Yep.
I miss anything?
Deja vu all over again.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I was watching that on the way back from Silver Dollar City, listening. I had my phone going there so my kid and Tanya could watch it. And yeah, it was like watching the same last few times we watched them do their thing. Very close. It always boils down to the referee discussion, but there's a lot of great plays that happen in between referee calls, by the way. Can we point those out, please? There's a lot of stuff going on there. A lot of production. I mean, Jamar Chase, I don't recall him doing a whole lot. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember.
No.
He wasn't
I
really-
remember him throwing his helmet around. Yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of mad. Yeah, he threw that.
Oh,
And,
He got
yeah,
locked
yeah.
down by McDuffie.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
McDuffie got in his head. In the words of what's the guy Jalen Ramsey, as he would say, you tell me who got in whose head? Who got in whose head?
Yeah,
That's what McDuffie did to Jamar Chase. Who got in whose head? You saw it. You saw it. You tell me, as he
Yeah.
says.
That's one of those. That's that's one of those things, Dwayne. What I love about like I do know this. Like I'm not obviously I never played football in past like fifth grade or whatever, but I do know in this it's like this in basketball, like the unspoken things, like the McDuffie's, like yeah, this person was not a factor because Burrow could not find a spot for him or couldn't find, and they don't talk about. They may get like a one or two sentences here and there, but there's these unspoken things out there that cause like the star players to like get throw helmets or to like get kind of rocked a little bit, which causes a big change in the game. Those aren't stat lines. Those aren't things we talk about. Those aren't data points. They're just like, look, they were out of contention. They weren't in the right spot because the defense did what they had to do to make them not available. And that's the kind of thing that the older I get, the more I look at stuff like that. That is a
Mhm.
lot of fun to pay attention to.
Yes, it
So
is.
there is a stat line for that, and it's 50% stat line. The Chiefs have won 50% of the last four Super Bowls.
Wow.
The
That's
Ravens
the
and the
stat line
Bengals have
now.
won zero, and it's because they shrink in those big moments. I mean,
Yes,
these
they do.
last two games and the way that the star players for the Bengals and Ravens conducted themselves in the post game and in the week since, and how they keep saying they want to keep playing the Chiefs, there that's the difference right there. Lamar Jackson didn't get out there and say, we didn't execute well enough. And Patrick Mahomes is saying, like, I would have worn white shoes, and that probably would have called a touchdown. I mean,
Mhm.
those are two completely different things. They the post game press conference, they're trying to ask Lamar Jackson honest questions, and he's complaining. They're trying to
Mhm.
push Patrick Mahomes to make a controversial comment, and he won't give it to him. And then you've got McDuffie getting in Chase's head, Burrow walking off dejected, and you got the cornerback that was talking crap about Worthy that had a touchdown caught on him over Rashee Rice, talking about how a picture of Mahomes and Kelce is the lock screen on his phone because he can't
Wow.
get to play him again.
Wow.
Like, Dwayne, you're in real estate. What's the prognosis of getting a rent free place? Because the Chiefs
Uh,
live in their division
yeah.
rivals, their
I,
real
I I
division
think
rivals'
they're the
head.
only team that lives rent free. They have no deposits. They have no nothing. They're
Yeah.
just they're getting squatters' rights without being squatters. I mean, hey, can't beat that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, in any event, I'm genuinely sorry that anybody that's a Bengals fan is upset based on somebody running through Rashee Rice before the ball even gets to him.
Right.
Like, if that's not a penalty, then I don't know what the hell we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. But for their sake, when they lose, it's the refs. Or oh no, it's Taylor Swift, so
Well, exactly.
isn't that something? Taylor called the ref and said, call that. That's you know.
No, it's like there's the satirical commercial. I can't remember what insurance company it's for. They're all the same. But there's a commercial for an insurance company, and you got the guy sitting in the stands, and it's him and his dad. They're soccer fans, or his father-in-law. But they keep calling the refs back and forth. They're like, throw a red card, give a penalty kick. And there are people that get on the internet who I genuinely believe think that there's some level of that happening with the NFL. And I'll just say this. I was always fond of the Patriots when they had their whole long run. I appreciated what they
Hmm.
were doing, and I absolutely could not stand the general talk. It's like, oh, the Cheatriots, they're cheaters. They paid the refs. They did all of this stuff.
Spygate.
I'm like, no, this is
Inflated
crap.
footballs.
What they did is they were better at math than all of you people. They put themselves in a position to win as often as possible, and they won at a disproportional rate.
Yep.
And that was it. Tom Brady played in what, 9, 10 Super Bowls,
Hmm.
and he won seven. So
Mm.
he did better than the 50-50. But the big part of that
Yeah.
was you put yourself there every single time, and stuff works out.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
gosh, it's just one of those things like we've watched for many years. We've watched teams that we love. We watched our Chiefs play over the years, over the decades. So we know what success looks like. We know what good football, like good football in NFL standards, by the way, NFL level, like competitive NFL level. And then we look at our Chiefs now, like, wow, like what we're expecting the receivers to do, that like our tight ends and the rushing, like and Mahomes, of course, Magic Mahomes doing what he does, and we're just like we expect a certain level, and but we also have the benefit of like going back in time a little bit, like we know what that does not look like, and so
Exactly.
this is what high elite level playing looks like, and
Yeah.
this is how it feels, and this is what we expect. And this is, I mean, and that's how I feel. I imagine New England fans felt all those years.
Yeah.
Like this is what we expect, and but that comes with like the talent that we were, by the grace of God, lucky to acquire. And here we are. Now we get to enjoy and enjoy as hard as we can while we can.
Yes, we
And
can.
you have the correct coach to actually execute on it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Bang, bang.
It's a machine.
It's a
That's
constellation. Stars aligned.
Exactly. It's a
The
machine.
stars
The
aligned.
Patriots were a machine. The Chiefs are a machine.
hmm Yeah, with the Belichick and Brady and Gronk and all the receivers that came and went and giving great. Like we could talk about like Brady getting the time he needs. I know he does not like to run and scramble, so he needs a lot of time to do what he does.
Yeah.
Versus what Mahomes did against that Buccaneer, the Bucks Super Bowl, running all
Yeah.
over the place. So,
Well,
Yeah.
you can sum up what the Patriots did in a handful of bullet points. It was one, they had a plan. Two, they brought in players that were professionals that didn't make mistakes and executed plans. Three, they had the best quarterback who's ever played. Four, they had Hall of Fame level kicking. And five, they had arguably the best coach who's ever coached.
you sound
I'd
like
argue pretty hard for Andy Reid at this point.
you sound like Kim
Yeah.
Jong. You sound like Kim Jong Il and Team America. It's a
Yeah.
very sophisticated and complicated plan.
Yeah,
Mhm.
a very sophisticated and complicated brand.
That's it. That's it.
Hans Bricks. Oh, you're breaking my balls,
Oh no.
Hans.
Oh no, on bricks. I'm sorry, Dwayne. This is I don't know if you ever saw Team America. Josh
No,
and I
I
we lo-
actually
So,
you've seen that?
no.
Okay, so
okay, well, it's well worth it. It's
Josh
the
and I are
South
South
Park
Park fans, as
guys
you know, and
making an action movie slash
puppet movie.
satire on political war machine stuff.
Wow.
It was a
Pretty
goof on
awesome.
the Iraq War and all that and all the celebrity. I mean, if you like that kind of if you
Oh
like
yeah.
South Park, you like that kind of thing. So it's really
Yeah.
funny.
I do like South Park.
Yeah, give it a look.
But actually, the episode that we need to do, and I don't know if this is the place for it, but I still want to do the epic South Park breakdown that goes through all 26 seasons, picking episodes and putting in a 64 episode
Oh,
bracket for the
Josh,
best
you'll
one.
love this. You'll love this. Josh, you will love this. Okay, I swear to God, I won't go more than a few minutes on this, but I was at the bar like last month, and a young dude
I
was at
guarantee
the
you've been there since then. Go on.
you what?
I guarantee you've been there since then. Go on.
No, I've not. I'm not. No, I swear to God, I've not. I've not. I swear to
Sorry.
you, this is not a confessional booth right now. I'm not. No, seriously, I was there last month, and I went down. I sat down, and a young dude, like a fraternity dude, who's like early 20s, and he sees me there, all 41 years old of me, like they were Tanya hanging out, and it's karaoke night, and he goes, so what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just gonna order some refreshments. And I swear to God, his dude and his three dudes behind him, like this, he turns his head, he goes, this guy says he's ordering refreshments. And they're like, South Park, and in their fraternity, that is the joke. That's
They
like,
have refreshments.
yeah, no, that's the fighting around the world for them. They are saying refreshments everywhere. And I said the term without being prompted. And I was like their best friend for the rest of the night because I
That's
said
awesome.
refreshments.
They serve refreshments.
Yeah. This guy says he's buying refreshments. Like, I swear to God, like I mean, I got people coming up and I'm like, I'm buying refreshments for everybody. I know you guys are all broke, so I'll buy some shit. Let's do it. So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is so awesome.
Oh man. All right. Well, let's get into final takes. Dwayne, you got a final take for us?
Final take. I'm just excited for the KC takeover. I hate that I'm not going to be there because I have a brother that lives in Atlanta, and so they're definitely going to be at that game, man. And I think you guys need to be careful out there. Do what you got to do. Have a lot of fun and piss off as many Atlanta Falcon fans as you can, because it's a whole group of Chiefs out there. So nothing's going to happen to you. They're just going to walk away.
Sure. Brian, what do you got?
Hey, I'm still rooting for those Royals.
Yes.
Wearing the blue. I think we're still in play to get that wild card spot. Bobby Witt Jr. is having himself a season, so we're still rooting for the boys in blue. Let's see what they can do. You know what? At this point, I feel like I don't know if they can beat anybody. We'll see how they do in a series of 5 and a series of 7. Obviously, so anything can happen. They are in a position where anything can happen because they can make things happen. They have the talent and they have the bats, and they are in a spot right now where I'm excited to see them go. So you know what? What a time to be alive when you have the Chiefs doing their thing, we got the boys in blue doing their thing, and I know the Astros are doing their thing too. And yeah, you know what? Let's enjoy some baseball while we are still ramping up for NFL enjoyment.
That's right. That's right.
All right, I'm going the baseball angle too. We are recording on Thursday. I've been watching Thursday Night Football this entire time, full disclosure. The first ever in history 50-50 man, that is 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases, Shohei Ohtani.
Oh
Can't
wow.
stand the Dodgers. Totally rooting against them, but man, Japan's Babe Ruth is the real deal.
Dud. Dud.
Absolute real deal.
Japan's Babe Ruth. I love it.
That's what he is. And as for the Milwaukee Brewers, my local team, also excited about the Royals. The Brewers are one of 3 teams along with the Yankees. And I want to make sure I get this right. The Yankees and Cleveland Guardians. So the Yankees, Cleveland Guardians, and Milwaukee Brewers. Oh, sorry, Dodgers too. All 4 of those teams have clinched a playoff berth. So the Guardians and the Brewers have locked down the Central, and the Yankees and Cleveland has not locked down the Central. They've secured a playoff berth. The Yankees, the Guardians, and I should probably re-record this entire thing, but I'm not going to. And Dodgers have secured playoff berths. The Brewers have won the NL Central. So cheers to the Brewers. Serious hat tip. Cheers to Shohei Ohtani. That's been wild to witness.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
One thing I do love about baseball and sports in general was I met this our friend. She introduced us to her boyfriend who's from LA, and he his English is not so great. But he was wearing an LA Dodgers jersey or shirt, and it had Shohei Ohtani on it and Mookie Betts and the other players, and I was like able to identify like all those guys. And after that, we were just talking baseball the best we could communicate, and we were like best buds after that. So that was like, yeah, Shohei Ohtani. I'm like, he was expecting me. I don't know, of his competitor. Like, what kind of fan are you? Are you like, do you get like all huffy puffy about that? I'm like, no, man, I respect greatness, man. Shohei is the man.
Yeah.
He's great. I'm going to respect him, and I'm excited for him, and I'd like to see him do what he does. So I will obviously always default to the Royals, but you know, when I see greatness, I'm going to appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so to answer, the Royals are 2 games into the second wild card. They're 2 games
wow.
ahead of the Twins and the Tigers, who are both tied.
All right. All right.
So getting swept by Detroit this last weekend was not a good thing, or earlier this week was not a good thing. But the Royals are still in a win you're in. They don't have to have help from anyone, so that's a good thing.
All right, well, let's get after it.
All right, so go Royals and go
Oh, Chiefs.